All right. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. If you're new here, I'm so glad you came to join us. I hope you find it to be a really good use of your time. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love seeing everybody's smiling faces. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos on legal technology talk. All right. So we are just going back to the basics with our motto today, and I am going to turn it over to Beth. Beth, you're on mute.
There we go. How's that?
Good.
Okay. Um, Before we dive in, let me ask you all something. How many of you feel like you or your team spend more time on repetitive tasks than actually connecting with clients? Sending those reminder emails, scheduling appointments, chasing down missing forms, data entry. Those are kind of the big ones. And that's what we're going to look at today. We're talking about a simple idea that can transform your firm. It's this: let a robot do what a robot can do, and a human do what only a human can do.
Beth,
That's our
I'm going to
motto.
just stop for one sec. I apologize. I forgot to put the notes. I just dropped the notes in the chat. Sorry, Beth.
Oh, sure. Yep. That's a motto that drives our firm to boost efficiency and productivity in a law firm without ever compromising the client experience. It sounds simple, right? But if it's so simple, then why are so many law firms still doing everything manually when they know there are better ways? So ask yourself, why do we do the things that we do? Is it because it actually works the best or because it's always been done that way? So in today's fast-paced environment, we really need to look at what a robot can do and what only a human can do, and allowing the robots to handle those repetitive tasks. Law firms and all other kinds of industry as well, they look to automation to focus on the things that a human can do, those high value interactions. So let me share a quick story. A few months ago, a law firm I worked with was overwhelmed with intake forms. They were writing them on paper and then entering them into their CRM. Client service coordinator was drowning in follow-ups, working late every night, and still struggling to get forms completed. We helped them set up a small automation in Lawmatics. Forms were automatically sent, reminders were triggered, tasks were assigned to the right person. Even at that, there were very few tasks assigned because the robot was taking care of so much of that for them. As a result of the automation, the coordinator had 20 hours a week freed up. She could actually talk to clients, answer questions, provide a personal touch that only a human can give. She wasn't rushing people off the phone so she could get her work done. The clients noticed, the firm noticed. Their intake process went from chaotic to seamless, and the team finally had some breathing room. So let's really look at the difference in robots and humans and how to decide what a robot can do. Robots are good at repetitive tasks with slight to no variation. And they're good at entering data, scheduling meetings, sending reminders, checking data and telling you it's not there. um, these are all predictable, repetitive, but they take up brain space and time that can be used for doing what humans can do better. They can do so much more. We convey feelings and we think creatively and critically, and we problem solve. So a robot cannot build a relationship with a client, although it can assist you in that. Someone doesn't feel heard when they receive an email or another communication. They feel heard when we listen, and that is what humans can do. So when you look at what you and other members of the team is doing on a daily basis, it's a good place to research if some of those things can be moved to a robot. Things like sending meeting reminders or following up on information forms is a big one. Those are easily handled by a robot and can free up a lot of time. Even follow-up emails where you want to include a personal touch can be done by a robot. You don't need to write every email. Maybe you put 3 different fields in to fill in some personal touch paragraph. It can pull that into the email. And you fill that out after the consultation, and the robot sends a personalized message in the middle of the automated one over the next couple weeks. You freed up your brain space and kept the personalization. So anytime you can take something off the plate, along with providing a great solution to that, because just taking it off the plate doesn't help, you greatly improve the workplace environment. Automation can reduce stress, reduce mistakes caused by hurrying and being overworked, and that increases your staff satisfaction. Your client benefits when employees focus on high-value interactions, not sending the reminders, but actually having those conversations. Like greeting them for a meeting and having the time to have a quick, meaningful conversation and get them a coffee is so much better than having a quick conversation while your mind is running on the 15 follow-up emails that you need to send along with checking the calendar for tomorrow, make sure those calls are done and everything else that's going on. Being able to say to them, hey, nice to see you today. What's going on? Let's get you a coffee. We can go into this conference room and not be able to actually focus on them and they feel heard in that moment. So of course, the key to using automation is safety. Always make sure to check your systems. Make sure your AI tools are compliant with privacy rules. And remember that automation is there to assist, not replace your people. And remember also that you can implement checks for yourself to spot check that your robots are doing what they're supposed to be doing. We call Lawmatics your silent employee. And if your silent employee isn't doing their job to save you time, fix it or fire your silent employee. For example, Lawmatics can automate intake reminders, communications, while keeping humans in the loop to personalize the client experience. So think of it this way. A robot can do the work of sending reminders or updating spreadsheets, but it can't notice if a client seems anxious or confused. That's where your team's human judgment is irreplaceable. So let's get a little practical about all this. How does this actually look for the people in your firm? So let's walk through some of the rules and see how automation and AI can help them focus on what really matters. And before I get into this, you can go to our website at ettingertech.com and click on the success tools and then the case studies calculator. You can see how much time you can save with automations or a robot doing things that a human doesn't need to be doing anymore. So the client service and intake coordinators, think about your day. How much time do you spend sending reminder emails, chasing down missing forms, or scheduling appointments? It's exhausting. That's time that you could actually spend talking to clients, answering questions, making them feel welcome and heard. Automation can take that repetitive work off your plate. Lawmatics can send forms, trigger reminders, and assign tasks automatically. A human doesn't need to be doing that, nor should they be doing that. But here's the human part. You're still the one making the client feel cared for. You notice the small things that a robot can't notice. And you're building trust, making the experience personal, and creating a client for life. And now to the paralegals. How many hours do you spend preparing documents, tracking case updates, sending routine status emails? That's time that could be spent reviewing complex legal issues, prepping for hearings, strategizing. Automation can handle document assembly, routine updates, and reminders, but humans are essential for interpreting details, reviewing critical documents, making strategic decisions based on the client's needs, and law as well that a robot can miss. A robot can draft, but you decide what actually goes out to the client or the court. And then operations. You already know the pain of trying to track every moving part of your firm. Hours spent collecting data, pulling reports, checking workflow bottlenecks can feel like detective work, and there's never an end in sight. Automation can give you dashboards, pull data from multiple places, and flag the areas that need attention. But humans are indispensable for analyzing those reports, interpreting patterns, deciding what changes improve the workflow and your team performance. So remember, your teams are humans, and a robot can't make a team member feel heard or wanted either. A robot can show the numbers, but it's your insight that turns those numbers into actions. So let's be honest, your time is valuable. How often do you find yourself sending emails, all of reminders, reviewing documents, instead of meeting with clients, strategizing, preparing for court, those kinds of things? Automation can take over those routine tasks. Appointment reminders, status update documents, preps, they can all be handled automatically. But humans are needed for judgment, problem solving, critical thinking, reviewing reports, spotting trends in cases, and making strategy decisions are areas where a robot can assist but not replace your expertise. So attorneys can take the things that keep client awake at night and solve them in their execution. So getting all of this out of an attorney's purview and letting a robot do most of that is very important, especially for your single attorneys that don't have staff, some of them. So when we talk about this human and robot collaboration, ask yourself this. If you could reclaim just a few hours a week from these repetitive tasks, what can you do with that time? Could you provide better service, focus on strategy, finally catch up on high priority revenue generating work? I do want to say many people go to in their brains immediately on hearing anything about automation, AI, and their role is we never want to replace a human with automation. So the goal is the opposite. We want to make your law firm so efficient and so organized and so client focused that your firm grows to the point where you actually need to hire more people. Automation frees your team from repetitive tasks, giving them space to focus on the human side of the client experience and the administrative work that only a real person can do. Your clients notice the difference when humans can spend time connecting, problem solving, and providing personalized service. This is exactly the kind of growth that every firm should aim for. So we've talked about roles, tasks, human judgment, but let's zoom out and actually see the big picture. When you embrace automation, a lot changes. Your team gets more time. Clients get faster responses. Your team becomes more efficient. Everyone's happier, or should be. Also, your team feels valued and refreshed, not leaving in a state of stress and seeing how many resignation letters they can write and throw away. Team morale is as important as your client experience. It's just the same level of importance there. The best part about all of the automation is that it scales. You can grow without adding headcount. You can provide a consistent, high quality client experience every time that is consistent, no matter how busy you are. So let's talk about a practical example of using an automated system. Client schedules a consultation on the phone or your website, but that's a conversation for another day. That is the first step. An email and text message immediately go out to the client, confirming and sending them the form to complete before the automation. Read our blog this past Wednesday. John did a really good job about writing the perfect consultation confirmation email. Client fills out that intake form. Automatically, the system marks that it's received, that it knows that it's done. It's recorded that it is done. Team doesn't have to do anything else to prepare for the meeting. It's done. The human team member only steps in where their expertise and personal touch are needed, such as answering a question about something on the form that the potential client is confused about. It's no longer a burden to the team when they get those calls for those things because the rest of it's all handled automatically. It's simple, and it makes a huge difference in clients' experience and team efficiency. Your results are threefold. Your client has a seamless and consistent experience. Your team has less stress and more time to focus on client relationships and revenue generating tasks. Your firm efficiency improves, and that will all impact your bottom line. So, what are our key takeaways from today? Well, there's a couple of them. Automation frees humans for high value work. Let robots handle the repetitive tasks so your team can focus on relationship building, strategy, problem solving, things that only a human can do. Human judgment is irreplaceable. Even with AI and automation, humans are essential for interpreting details, analyzing reports, providing a personal touch to the client experience. All of those things only a human can do. Efficiency drives your growth. Properly implemented automations reduce stress, errors, and wasted time. That is not to say that putting this in place is not stressful, because it is. I'm not going to lie to you about that. The process of putting that in is stressful. However, the end goal of that is absolutely to reduce the stress and errors and wasted time. And we do our best to help you through to reduce as much of that stress as possible. But all of those things allow your firm to handle more clients without compromising quality. And role-specific benefits matter. Every team member, every one of them, from intake coordinators to attorneys, they gain more time and effectiveness when automation handles repetitive work and humans can focus on their unique strengths. Automation is a tool. It is not a replacement. The goal is never to replace humans, but to create a firm so efficient and client-focused that growth requires more human talent for meaningful client interactions and other administrative work. So now we want to hear from you. What is the one task in your firm that you wish could just disappear? I know there are tons, but just pick just one, and how can you have a robot do that for you? And if you want help setting up these systems in our firm, I'm happy to talk with you one-on-one. Some of you I do talk with one-on-one a lot. You can schedule a free discovery meeting with us and evaluate if you have the right CRM for the modern law firm and modern client experience, or just if your current CRM needs some adjustments. But remember, let the robot do what it can and let your people shine where it matters most. Now, I know John is going to have some input on this. Can see his wheels turning.
And I don't a lot. I mean, you covered this really, really, really well. I think the biggest thing is just the fear of it moving, of it taking over your role. And we see things, there's law firms where the person who is in charge of the project to implement AI or automation that have worked with us, we've seen where they will absolutely delay getting things done for the project because they are so fearful once it's fully implemented. Um,
Mhm.
and they'll just say, I don't have it done. I'm still waiting on, and you can see it where they're really just pushing back.
Yes. Yep. And we also have the opposite of that as well. So you have that on one hand where it may not even, and they're not doing it consciously. A lot of times, this is not a conscious thought. It is just that fear is in your subconscious running, and it's telling you all of this stuff. And as we're talking about moving things to automation, that fear kicks in and that kind of takes over. And so you end up manifesting that it delays everything. And that's what ends up happening in those situations. It's not always that it is a person who is intentionally sabotaging um, that whole process at all.
Yeah, and I want to share just the other side of that too. There are some that are so excited that they are just firing on all cylinders moving forward,
Right.
but they're not moving the team with them.
Correct.
And that's part of our implementation process is how to keep the team all moving together. Yes, there's a project coordinator for it, but they just bypass everybody and then they get frustrated and mad that not everybody's keeping up. Um, so there's absolutely both sides, but we're here to support you in that middle and keep you
Right.
grounded. Beth has had some conversations of talking people off cliffs, talking them off the edge. And that's okay because we all get there. Because we're there, we're not counselors, but we're there for the mental support that it's going to be okay. Here's your end goal. Here's why you did it to bring you back to the ground. Put your feet flat on the ground and start taking those steps forward again. And that's what we're there for. And that's also why we do these open coachings because as we're going through the week, everything is just flying in every direction. These open coachings are going to give you that grounding again. Why are you doing things? Getting some of the just the mental health support, behind working in a law firm. We had Dr. Carey a few weeks ago, who is absolutely amazing. If you didn't watch that, she's a psychologist. Go on her YouTube and watch that. So we're there for both sides. And people think, oh, just putting automation and tech in, it's not, that's all it is. It's not. It affects every single aspect of your firm. And people are very grounded in their firm of how things are done. And it goes and switches all of that up, which absolutely plays into the mental psyche of that.
Yeah. So one thing that just struck me actually presenting this that really hasn't before is why we do what we do. And I mean by we I mean John and I. And as I'm going through here and talking about all of this, um some things came to mind. And John and I both worked in a law firm um together. And we had coaches and all of those things going on, but we did not have automation. So every time that we would meet with a coach and they would say, I want you to be tracking this, I want you to be tracking this, I want you to be making 4 follow-up calls to the clients, you need to be doing this, you need to have a list that you can pull and make your dialing for dollars, you need to do like all of this stuff. They were telling us the stuff we needed to do to make a successful law firm. And it was correct. And I don't know about John, but for me, the only thing I was hearing was, that's another meatball on the plate. That's another meatball on the plate. That's another meat. Like something's got to give. Like there, you can only fit so much on a plate. The plate was starting to overflow. Like, and so a lot of times, a lot of that stuff didn't get done and definitely didn't get done as fast as the coaches wanted it to. Not because we were holding back, just because there just wasn't enough time in a day. Like I couldn't maintain 6 different spreadsheets so we could be ready for a weekly meeting. Like that was insane. Um, and that really drives what we do, why we do what we do. And now that part of it is fun for us because if a coach or a firm comes to us and says, "Hey, a coach, our coach wants this." Great. Here, let me do that for you. And let me show a robot how to do that for you. Or let me, build a report that can just give it to. Those types of things are why we do what we do, because we're not coaches. We may give you experiences and what we've seen and what works and what doesn't, but we're not coaches. But when your coaches are asking you for certain things, we can absolutely help you get those things. And yeah, and help you out in that way and take some of those meatballs back off the plate, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's bring up the poll and quiz, Beth. And do you want to kind of look
Sure.
at these now that we've gone through it?
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Okay. So I think I have this. I don't I don't know what we can actually see, but I pulled it over here. I don't think you can probably see that. But um what is your biggest role specific fear regarding the implementation of AI and automation in your firm over the next 12 months? One person said my role could become redundant or unnecessary. Um, Probably not. And and the reason for that, and the reason that I say probably not, is you are more than your redundant work. You are more than that. And I will be very honest on that probably. Um, if you are someone who took the job that I originally went to the law firm to take, and the only thing I wanted to do was sit there and enter data for 8 hours a day and go home. If that is your role and that is all you want to do, it may, okay? But I don't think you would be here if that is your situation. Because there is so much better things that you can do beyond just sending 400 emails a day and text messages and calling 10 people. Like your role is more than that, and you can absolutely do more than that. Um, the other one is I'll lose control over legal work quality and accuracy. Well, you don't turn the robots loose. So you do keep control over them. Um, and everything that you're doing, you do quality checks on them and check them for accuracy. And um, so I'll tell you, like, part of our process for this is that as we're meeting with teams who have, turned on automation now, they're out there, the robot's doing what a robot's gonna do. We make sure that you know how to check the robot, like how to check the automations. Are they working? Why aren't they working? Teach you how to troubleshoot that. Um, Teach you how to see exactly what they're doing. Like you just don't put a robot in and turn it loose. You absolutely keep a handle and a leash on your robot. And another one is new tech will create severe client data security risk. Um, so in most of the automation things, um, it is built into your system. It's not going outside of your system and gathering information. All of the AI parts that are within any of the management systems that I know of, I'll put it that way. Um, they are secure in that they're not going out. Your information is not going back out into the main system, so to speak. So those things are secured. Should you check that? Absolutely. Um, because anything that operates in the space needs to meet certain compliance levels. And
And Beth, I want to just reiterate on that. if it's within your practice management system.
Correct.
That
Yes.
doesn't mean going into Chat GPT or Google Gemini
Correct.
or any of those.
Right. Yes. And you should never, ever, ever, ever put any client information or anything like that into any of those AI tools. Shouldn't do that. Um, yeah, that is a security risk. And that's when you're doing yourself. Um, and it's funny because I just this week, I don't know if everybody's just getting annoyed with it this week, but like just this week, four different people have asked me if there is a way to get rid of multi-factor authentication for signing into their practice management. And I'm like, no, that's security. That's the whole point." Like, um, so yeah, those things are in place for a reason. Excuse me. So the learning curve for new tools will be overwhelming. It's a lot. It is. Not gonna lie. It is a lot. Um, And some days it can be overwhelming, but it doesn't stay that way. It doesn't have to stay that way. Um, so really having an implementation plan in place and not like turning the robot loose. You don't want to have a whole, 50 different automations and turn them all on at the same time. Please don't do that. Um, even a robot can't help you if you do that. Um, it is way too overwhelming. So having a plan in place of how you're implementing this and how you're putting these things in and taking them one step at a time really helps that from being overwhelming. And don't take that next step until you're comfortable with what's going on. And I'm not talking about being totally comfortable and trusting it 100% either. I'm talking about that you have a sense that you understand it and how it's working, and you know how to pull the leash if you need to. And the other one that John had up there that nobody, and I am really glad that nobody said this was theirs was that senior staff and partners will block successful adoption. That's good. And sometimes it's not always senior staff either. Sometimes it is, someone else, one of the other staff members in the firm or whatever. And really, that is about buy-in from everybody. And so that you can explain this very well to people about what it's going to save. And that's where the case studies calculator on our website comes into play. Being able to say, hey, I can free up, 4 hours a week if a robot can send these emails for me. Like those types of things, actually giving it quantifiable numbers that you can go and look at, is what really helps a lot. And sometimes that is just, and I've heard this, I spend 6 hours putting together all the numbers for our weekly meeting. Um, yeah. If you have a system that can do that for you in a matter of minutes, it's so much better. So yeah. Hey, I think we addressed all those.
Yep, I love that. And if you are an attorney or something, it can be the opposite effect. You're ready to go. And we hear this too, that attorneys are afraid their team's not going to get on board. And we've seen them absolutely get on board. And we've seen where they haven't. And we've done a buy-in meeting where, it gets explained and you don't pull against the team. You want to get the buy-in. It's like, I'll phrase this very carefully because I'm not calling anybody dogs, but it's like when you're walking your dog, and I just wanted to clarify that it's not misinterpreted. But when you're walking your dog and they just walk with a loose leash, that's moving along smoothly. You're both on the same page, the whole team. But when they're just going, and it could be going forward or it could be to go backwards, and you're pulling against it and it's choking the dog and it's not healthy for anybody. So again, I'm not calling anybody a dog. I'm being very clear on that. But that's just the example that, it can be either way. It really
Right.
can.
It can be. And so let's just look at this like it's a tug of war. And people on one side are trying to pull you over that line and they want to implement this automation and this stuff. People on the other side are pulling back and going, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So which is better, to keep pulling back and forth and hoping somebody grabs a little extra strength and can jerk them over the line, or having a conversation with the other team and going, really? Because this is what it could get you. And then they will slow you. You have people leaving that side coming over to your side. So that's the same. Like, it is easier to do that than just to keep pulling on the rope.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all back to team morale, mental health.
Right.
And you're just going to ruin people by doing that. So,
Absolutely.
all right. I think we're ready for
Good.
open Q&A. Don't you think, Beth?
I think so. Are you going to stop the recording?